guys, it's Hollywood. I have a couple low power variable optics. The very first one I ever bought was this Vortex Viper, the 1:4 by 24. It is a fantastic little optic. I love the turrets on it. The illumination's great. The reticle is really nice. And it's lived on this 1022 for probably 5 or 6 years now. The next one that I purchased was this Nikon Black. This is the Force 1000, another 1:4 optic. One you have not seen on the channel yet is this Nikon 1:6 by 24. All of these are in about the $400 to $600 range, depending on where you shop. And my most recent one is the Nikon Black, the brand new Force 100. So scopes are one of those items that's kind of hard to review because it's hard to translate to you guys on the other end of the screen exactly what we're seeing. It's hard to kind of show you the clarity of the glass. The camera doesn't really translate all that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to roll in some footage throughout this review so you can see through this. There's a bunch of shooting footage. And I'm going to compare this a little bit to the predecessor, the previous version, the Force 1000. So let's do that first. Let's get these two on the table and see how they stack up. On the top here is the Force 1000, the older version. That is the 1:4. On the bottom here is the Force 100, the 1:6. First thing you'll notice, this one is longer. The 1:6 is 1 inch longer. This is 11.5 inches, 10.5 inches. To give you a comparison, the Nikon that I showed you earlier is a 1:6, but is actually half an inch shorter than this one, coming in at 10 inches. So the Nikon's 10 inches, this is 10.5, and this one is 11.5. Next big difference between these is in the turrets themselves. So on the old one here, you get a half MOA of adjustment per click. The new one is a 1/4 MOA of adjustment per click. On the old one here, you could dial your scope in, then once you had it, you could lift, twist it back to 0, and snap it down. On the new one, you actually have to get it dialed in to where your point of aim, point of impact is the same, and then loosen that little Allen screw in the middle there, lift the turret up, turn it back where you want it, set it down, and then tighten that Allen screw. Okay, so let's demonstrate that. Now this gun is zeroed. It is right where I want it to be. So I'm going to hold the turret in place and loosen that screw on the top. Lift this up. Set it back on 0, and then set my screw back in. In terms of the reticle itself, it does have 10 brightness modes here. It is not night vision compatible. They are red dot, 2 MOA dot, and in between each of the settings is an off setting. So you can turn it once to turn on, turn it right back. You don't have to crank it all the way back to 0. To see that reticle here just a little bit. They call this their Force MOA reticle. In this visual here, you can see it overlaid on a 3-gun target, on an IPSC target, as well as a pepper popper. This next diagram here kind of shows you some of the measurements of all of the tick marks on here. Now this is an etched glass reticle. I already mentioned the dot was 2 MOA. If you really want to geek out on this, you can pause it right here and look at all of the measurements between the different hash marks, both for your holdovers and your holdoffs. The eye relief on this is actually really generous. So it's from 4 inches all the way down to about 2 inches. So if I go past 4 inches, I start seeing some of that shadowing. And if I come inside of about 2 inches, I start seeing some of that shadowing. Now that is at 1x. If I crank this to 6x, it's about 2.5 inches of eye relief, and you don't have much wiggle room. You pretty much got to be dialed in at 2.5 inches to prevent that shadowing. Checks all the boxes in terms of the features that you want. It's argon purged, it's multi-layer coated, so it's not going to fog up. It is shock resistant, it's waterproof. Now it does weigh in at about 20 ounces. It's not the lightest low power variable optic out there on the market, but typically those ones that are 3-4 ounces less are going to cost you probably $300-400 more. So that's it, guys. That is the new Nikon Force 100. Depending on where you shop, it's going to run you about $650, and depending on when you're watching this video. I'll post a link in the description below to the Amazon version of this, so go check that out. Thank you for watching, guys. If you like this video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button below. Got lots more videos to come, and I'll see you in the next one.
I love you, Daddy.
I love you, bud.